Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today gonna go out, see what stuff came out today, see what stuff's on sale, and then go to a pawn shop or two and a thrift store as well, see if I can find anything there today. Also at the end of this video, gonna have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. Also this Saturday, be on the lookout for my new DVD Blu-ray update as well. Some really cool stuff in that update as well. Anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. Yeah, last week they didn't have these ones here, this Star Trek Beyond one with these like different covers, you know, Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk and stuff. They didn't have this one last time in here. But, you know, the main big thing that came out today was, you know, Sausage Party. I'm going to have a review of this one at the end, and they actually have an exclusive, you know, steelbook of this one here. So that's pretty cool. Usually a lot of times when the steelbooks are, you know, usually exclusives to Bestbuy. So that's kind of cool that they have the exclusive steelbook for that one in here. But this is actually a very fun movie. And they have, you know, and the steelbook too is the same price as the regular Blu-ray. And then I'm going to have a review of this one at the end as well, the new release today of Taxi Driver. This is the 40th anniversary edition of this one. That one came out in here today as well. And I know this was one of the other things that came out today, you know, Daredevil, the complete first season. I know this one is a Netflix show. Have not watched any of this one though, so I have not, you know, don't know how it is, but, you know, review-wise and what I have read though, everyone says it's pretty good though. It's kind of cool they actually have these complete series sets in here from Mill Creek, you know, in store. You know, Knight Rider, the complete series, Miami Vice, the complete series Blu-ray. So that's kind of cool if you guys are trying to find these ones in person. They also have sliders. I'm going to talk about this in my video this weekend. It's really funny. This is one of those shows that I totally forgot that I watched as a kid. I was watching through some episodes of this, and it was like total deja vu. It was like one of those things I was like, I guess I watched this as a kid and like totally forgot that I did. But it's actually a really pretty good show. Into the pawn shop we go. Well, I'm in here and I have to like move everything around in here because like this stuff was all in here, so I've been like putting all these things up here and moving everything around because they got a whole bunch of new stuff in here. So I'm really trying to figure out where I'm gonna put stuff, like moving everything to try and get in through this whole box and sort through it. So I've been like placing everything up here and like really squiggling things up in this place. But when they're in these huge type of containers like this, you really have to move things around quite a bit to try and look through all this and see everything in here. But it seems like they've got in a bunch of new stuff. The problem is a lot of it's like super common stuff I've seen a lot, but you never know. You really have to look through all these because every so often there can be something weird that you don't see too much of. So I just have to keep moving everything around and making sure I don't miss anything. Well, I've been in here and I sorted through everything. I've moved everything around, and I actually found one really good thing in here. So it definitely paid to move all this around and go through all these boxes and stuff, because sometimes you can really find a good thing. And I saw it was like a USA Films release, and I know that company's been out of business for years. So I knew right away, I'm like, yep, this is a good one. I'll show you guys when I get outside what I found. Well, I actually found a pretty good thing in there. It's only $1 for this, and it's a double feature set that has Cabin by the Lake and Return to Cabin by the Lake. This is from, you know, that company USA Home Entertainment. They went out of business a long time ago, and I knew I had to check the price of this one because I remember they had that double pack that had Cherry Falls and Terror Track. You know, Cherry Falls is now on Blu-ray from Scream Factory, but Terror Track, you know, which has John Ritter, is, you know, never been out on Blu-ray or a single DVD release or anything like that. And I knew that one was very valuable because of Terror Track, so I wanted to look this one up. And it sells for like $89, like $69 to $89 used. The disc itself is a little, as Pauly Shore would say, crusty. It's a little crusty. It looks like it's all right. Hopefully it will play, but even if it didn't for $1, then it would be just, oh, chuck it. Oh well, I might be able to clean it. It's not terrible. It is an old Blockbuster copy, so like I said, you know, for $1. And this one actually sounds pretty cool. I don't know if I have ever seen this one before or not, but look, the back of the disc, I'll show you, doesn't look, it looks okay, not like outstanding though, but for $1 it's worth a shot. And like I said, I don't think I've ever seen this one, so definitely look forward to seeing it. But that just shows you though, you really do in some of these places have to sort through all these boxes and move everything around, because you can sometimes find a pretty decent thing in there. Like I said, $69 to $89 used is the lowest you can find for this double pack one, so that is a pretty good find for $1. Into the quality resale store we go. Well, we're going to sort through here and see if there's anything different. You know, I've been in here probably, I think like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And this one doesn't seem to change out in here too often. They did have this box in here, which I think was newer stuff. So I was sort of sorting through and found these two ones. I have to look up and see if they have any value. This John Travolta one that I don't think I've ever really seen anywhere, called White Man's Burden, which I never recall seeing that. And this Red Riding Hood kind of like horror movie type thing, which I don't think I've ever come across that one either. But yeah, I looked through those ones. They were like pretty common ones. This one, you know, this one I really hope at some point comes to Blu-ray, because it's one of those ones that's one of those older DVDs, you know, where it's not even formatted for your screen. You know, those ones with like the bars or like on the sides, when like it just fits in a full screen thing. It's really weird. It's like those really early DVDs. So hopefully at some point this one gets a better release of this one. I remember like Fluffy Gamers always talking about this one being like the rare one or something for some reason, this edition or something like that. I don't know why it is. I already have this one, but like I remember hearing something about that. I don't know why. I remember he was always saying this one's like a rare one. Into the Assistant League thrift store we go. Didn't really show anything in there because they only had a couple movies, but I found in here for a pretty good price. I mean, actually a really good price for $12, the complete series of 6 Feet Under. I only have like, I think like the last season of this. It's actually a pretty cool edition of this, and it seems like it's the cheapest I've seen it everywhere. They're in here like in this kind of like book-like thing like this, and then the discs are in here, you know, between these like pages and stuff like that from the things from the show. But, you know, this is actually, you know, a very, very sad show, you know, especially like the last episode of this show. Like probably, I remember when like I saw the last episode of this, I was like down in a terrible, like really bad mood for like at least a week, because I don't know if you guys have seen the show, you know how like the last episode is. It's just very sad, but definitely one of HBO's, at least my favorite HBO show, next to Carnival, next to, you know, The Night of lately, which is one of my favorite ones recently. But very cool show. Like I said, only $12 for this, so actually a pretty good find. I think it's like, seems like online it's like 40 to 50, something like that. Like I said, I only have like the last season, and I think I might have the first season like a Blockbuster edition, which are like loose discs or something like that from years back, but not the whole set like that. So that was pretty cool to find this one. Into the DAV Veterans Thrift Store we go. So we'll have to take a look and see if there's anything different in here today. They always have tons of copies of this First and 10, the complete collection in here. Always see this in here. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this before. It was like, I don't know, it's always weird how they can get like so many copies of the same thing in here. But, you know, this is one of those places too, I can never figure out exactly how much any of this stuff costs, because they don't seem to like put prices for anything anywhere. So it's kind of like a real mysterious thing of what this stuff is. This kind of a weird thing to see, like this Tori Spelling show, it's so notorious. Like sometimes you see in this location, I've seen some different stuff like the Anna Nicole Smith show, which you never see anywhere. They had like the complete first season of that in here. And when I was going in there to do that, you know, into the store I go, you know, I'm like, oh, into the DAV thrift store I go. I looked over because my car, you know, the camera went across this woman's car, and she looked at me like this, like almost like real freaked out. I'm like, oh, jeez. And then it was kind of awkward going in there. You know, sometimes when I do those into the store I go things, awkward things like that always happen because it passes by somebody or something like that, and they make a really odd face or go, what is this guy doing? Into FYE we go. It's a rare thing in here again. There's no music on. Like every time I go in here and there's no music, it's like, phew, you know, I don't have to worry about it, because very seldom is there ever, you know, not music on in here. But just gonna go through here and do like I always do, just look for the used stuff and see if there's anything in here different. Hasn't been anything really good, you know, that's out of print or rare in here for a while. Like I don't think anyone's brought anything else in here. It is cool though, you can get like the, you know, Arrow video releases and that kind of stuff in here. But we'll go through here though and see if they have anything else, you know, different here today. And you always have to make sure you check this area right here, because this is like the used new arrivals thing in here. This is where like the most recent things that have come in are, so you always have to check this. The thing is though, their used prices sometimes to me are a little high, like $17.99 for this. This is kind of like only a few dollars less than you would be to get the new copy. So that's the thing, is sometimes these used prices are really not really that much off, as opposed to like what you could get them, you know, used online. Into Walmart we go. Yeah, in here though, I don't see any specific, you know, editions of Sausage Party in here today. But I know this one came out today, Kickboxer Vengeance, which was, you know, the remake of Kickboxer, and, you know, Van Damme was playing the teacher in this one. And they have this set in here too, like if you guys don't have them, this 4-pack with, you know, Sausage Party, This Is the End, The Night Before, and Pineapple Express. So this is like only on DVD one. I know this one was today as well, this one, Morris from America, which I don't know too much about this one. If you guys have seen this one, let me know if this one's one's worth checking out or not. And then they have this complete series one of Batman Beyond, which I think this one was today, I'm pretty sure, which has all of them together. And now in this section, they have all the stuff out. Last week when I was in here, I actually had to go out of the box, you know, into the boxes and grab this one, Daylight's End, out of the box because nothing was out yet. But I believe these ones were last week. This one, the Standoff, you know, Subterranea, Returned. This one, I got this like a month or two back, this one, The Bride, you know, in FYE, but now they, you know, just put that out in Walmart's. So it's always funny how some things come out and then like Walmart gets them in the stores like a month or two after they're released. This other one, Dino Sharks, like a killer shark movie. Into Best Buy we go. And one thing they have at Best Buy here is like an only at Best Buy thing, which is kind of cool. You can get this free t-shirt here with this one. And it's the same price, you know, $19.99. You get this t-shirt here. And if for some reason you just wanted to buy this, you know, shirt, it's $10. But it's like the shirt that's the name of the actual market from, you know, where the movie takes place. So that's kind of a cool thing here. And then over here in the section, like I said, this one came out today, you know, Kickboxer Vengeance. And then, you know, Morris from America. And like I said, let me know how this one is. I have not seen this one, so I really actually don't know much at all about that one. Always like Craig Robinson though, but other than that over here, don't really see anything else too different here today. Well, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shop video today. Like I always say, guys, enjoy these shopping videos. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, be sure to check out my new DVD Blu-ray update up this Saturday. And now stay tuned for a couple of new DVD Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video US is a movie called The Initiation. Have not watched this movie in a really, really long time. It's actually a pretty cool movie. It's set in this really cool, kind of weird mall building. And I looked it up and the building still exists. It's like a world kind of market of all these different kind of shops and stuff. And it's in this huge, I don't know what kind of building you'd say it looks like. Kind of like an office building with all these flags everywhere and stuff. But essentially, though, the movie's about these girls who are, trying to get in this sorority, and they come up with the idea of them having to break into the one girl's father owns the building, which is like this mall-type building. So they come up with the idea of them breaking into this building and spending the night in there and stealing the guard's uniform. Of course, though, nearby this insane asylum, the people in there all go crazy, and a couple of them get loose. They get loose, and so you see them, getting away. So one of them is going to end up inside this building, and the one main girl had some weird stuff happen in her past, and she's always having these odd dreams about like something going on with her father, and then getting killed and all these kind of things happening. So she's always having these dreams. She doesn't know exactly what they are. So it's kind of her dealing with this stuff going on, and then it deals with her like meeting this guy who wants to kind of study her dreams and like put her through like dream treatment things and like kind of see if he can like hypnotize her and try and get to the bottom of what this is, and if these things that she's thinking of are really dreams, or if they're actually, memories of something that happened to her in the past. I actually always like this movie. It takes a little while for it to get to the mall stuff. Like, once it gets to the stuff in that mall kind of weird building, it's really cool. Like, that's my favorite stuff, is once it gets to the mall. It sort of is like a chopping mall kind of thing about someone, like, going after the girls in the mall stuff. Like I said, it's like the weirdest mall in the world. You can't explain what it is. It's like these weird shops, and they don't really have a whole lot of stuff in them. I just love the setting. The setting really makes this movie just such a cool setting. It has on here, though, a brand new 2K transfer. This one, of the movie really looks good, as well as a new commentary track with the Hysteria Continues group. And they did a lot of commentaries on some Vinegar Syndrome releases in the past. I really like their stuff. They really talk, like, have some funny anecdotes and stuff about the movies, and like they talk about like their favorite types of movies and like weird, lesser known stuff. I always love their commentaries. As well on here, a new interview with the writer on here, interview with one of the actors on here, and one of the actresses as well. But a really cool, like, I feel like a movie that probably not a lot of people have seen, this slasher movie. And you know me, I love movies set in malls and like weird buildings. And the next one here from Sony is the brand new 40th anniversary edition of the film starring Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese, Taxi Driver. This is the brand new 40th anniversary edition, and this one has on here, the brand new feature that's on here is an all new Q&A. I think it's like a 40-minute Q&A with Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster, and the writer as well, and then a couple other cast members. So there's actually a pretty cool thing to get them all together in one place. It was for a screening that they had. So it's kind of cool to hear them talk about the movie and to get them all together. If you guys don't know the movie, though, this is an outstanding movie. Like, I had not watched this in quite a while, though, so it's cool to watch this again. It's basically Robert De Niro is a guy who, he's got all kinds of problems, and he's like, doesn't really ever sleep. You never really see him sleeping. He like wants to work for hours and hours and hours, and he drives this taxi around New York. And this is set, you know, in 76. So this is when New York was really had a cool look, and it was actually so different back then, because it was like, it was before it was really cleaned up. So there was like trash everywhere, and it was like all kinds of like, in like Times Square was back when it was like all the adult theaters, and just totally different. Like this movie would not work now with the look, because like this, you would not be able to capture this look now of what it was like then. But he's kind of driving around in his taxi, kind of stewing about life, and he becomes kind of obsessed with this one girl who's working at a political place where they're kind of a guy who's running for president, and he's kind of always spying on her and looking at her. He starts to see this girl and tries to go out on a date with her, and it doesn't go well at all. And he becomes like, once this happens, he kind of gets cracked up, and he's like buying guns and making these plans of things he's going to do. It also deals with Jodie Foster's character, who's this prostitute who is, you know, kind of like way too really young prostitute that's kind of being taken and controlled by Harvey Keitel's character, and he wants to do something about it. So it's such a great movie. The music in this is Bernard Herrmann's last score that he composed. The music is amazing in this movie. It's just such a great movie, and the transfer on this one is great, and it has all the past features from the last releases, like the making of. I'm pretty sure those were on the last ones as well as the 1986 commentary track with Martin Scorsese. That's pretty cool. They carried that over, an old commentary track from years back. But like I said, though, the main new feature on here is the you know, the Q&A, as well as having a digital copy of the movie. But really love that movie. The next one is from Sony as well, and this is a very fun movie. And this is this is an R-rated animated comedy. This is one of the few R-rated animated comedies that there's ever been, and it's like done like a kids movie, you know, like the look and the animation, but it's totally like off the wall raunchy. You know, Seth Rogen, you know, wrote this movie, and it's like, I'm pretty sure, he wrote this with Evan Goldberg, you know, who he's collaborated with on a lot of movies. And this is the animated film called Sausage Party, and it's I really like this movie, and it's basically, though, about like these all the fruits and the vegetables and the sausages and the buns and everything all come alive in the market, and they're actually alive and living, and they all kind of hear that like their idea of like greatness is when they get taken home, and when they believe it's like someone buys them and takes them out of the market, they're going to be going to like the great beyond and like the great world out there. And it's, you know, they don't realize they're going to be out there and getting eaten. And something ends up happening, and Seth Rogen ends up falling out of his package, as well as Kristen Wiig's character, who's a bun, and they kind of like each other. And it's kind of them trying to get back to their packages because they really want to be, you know, taken to the great beyond. But of course, though, they start hearing around there, though, that maybe the great beyond isn't what they think it is, and maybe it's like something terrible because someone who was there came back from it or told the story of what had happened. So it's kind of like them on this journey of trying to get back and going through the market and meeting all the kind of weird characters and stuff that's in the market. A lot of great voice actors in this one, too. You know, Michael Cera does a voice in this, Salma Hayek, James Franco, Danny McBride, Edward Norton. I don't know. I just found this to be a very fun, like, ridiculous movie. I really liked it a lot. Has on here, though, a gag reel on here, and the thing on here talking about how do they actually get this thing made, and then Line-O-Rama, which is, you know, kind of like the improvised lines and stuff on here, as well as the booth, the great beyond, and then Seth Rogen's animation thing about the animation on the movie. But I really, like I said, really like this one a lot. And the next one from Fox, I thought this was a very fun movie. Like, it's a very silly movie. You know, Barry Sonnenfeld directed this, and he directed, you know, the Addams Family movies and Men in Black, and I always like his stuff. They always have a similar feel, and this movie is 9 Lives. It's, you know, stars Kevin Spacey, Jennifer Garner, and Christopher Walken, and Christopher Walken is great. Like, to me, he's, like, good in everything, and even if a movie's, like, not outstanding, like, his stuff is always good. But the movie's basically, though, about Kevin Spacey's this guy who's, like, a real workaholic, and he's obsessed with building this really high-rise building, and he's having all kinds of problems, and, like, you know, he's putting all kinds of money into it, and he wants it to be the highest building in the city, but then there's, like, a competing company making a high building. So it's kind of a whole big thing going on. And what ends up happening is one night he has to go out and buy this cat for his daughter because, you know, he forgets to get her a gift, and he goes and gets his cat, and something happens, and his soul ends up getting put inside of the cat, and then Kevin Spacey's in a coma, but his soul ends up going into the cat, so he ends up having to live as this cat and then try and get himself back to his body. And it's kind of like this whole to-do thing going on, like getting worried that the kids are going to get rid of the cat because they don't want to have the cat because he didn't want to have the cat. So it's all these kind of ridiculous. So like I said, it's an absolutely silly, ridiculous movie. Christopher Walken, though, is great because he's kind of giving him all kinds of crap and saying, you're stuck in there until you do this, you know, you're not going to get out of this cat. I don't know. I really love this. I found it to be just a silly movie. It has on here, though, a making of the movie. But I don't know. Like I said, I really enjoyed this one. The next one here, and this is pretty cool. This is from Warner Brothers. And this is, you know, done in the classic style of the original, like, 1960s Batman. And this is Batman, the Return of the Caped Crusader. This is basically, like, kind of like an extended episode of the classic series. And they even did the stuff with, like, the, you know, pow, punch, like, when they're having the fight scenes and stuff. They put the things up on the screen that says, like, kaboom and all that kind of stuff. So it's like that total throwback. And it has Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julia Newmar doing the voices of, you know, the characters. So it's pretty cool to see them back again doing this. And this is the best way to bring back the characters, because trying to do it now, you know, in live action, I don't think would work. But, you know, doing it in animation actually really does work. And it's basically, though, like I said, an extended episode of the show. And it's kind of like Batman and Robin back together again. But then, like, all the bad guys are kind of scheming up, and they have this machine that can kind of like clone people, and there's all kind of problems going on. They're kind of trying to save the day, and there's like clone Batmans going around and stuff. I really like this one on here. It has on here, though, a featurette on the voice acting in here. But if you guys are a fan of the original Batman series, I would think you guys definitely should check this out. And really good animation on this one as well. The next one here from MPI is a very fun movie called Uncle Nick, and this has, you know, Brian Posehn is the star of this, and I have always been a fan of him. He's a really good character actor, and he's, like, pretty much, to me, good in everything. And he basically plays this guy who's this real alcoholic. He's got, like, some things happen in his past, so he's pretty much depressed all the time, and he doesn't really have good, you know, judgment of what he's doing. And he goes back home, you know, to his family's house. Like, his brother recently got married to this woman who has all this money, so he goes to her house for you know, for Christmas, and the other family members, like the brothers and sisters, all come there as well. And he goes there, and he's, like, drinking, getting drunk, and then he's, like, hitting on and being really inappropriate with the one's daughter. You know, it would be, like, the, you know, the daughter of the guy that his brother just got married to. She's like 20, and he's like being really inappropriate and like sending her all these texts, and they're texting back to each other and saying all these weird things to each other, and she kind of likes him. It's kind of in the vein of like something like Bad Santa. It's a real, like, you know, mean-spirited, you know, kind of negative Christmas kind of movie with all kinds of problems. And it's all done too in the theme of like a big baseball game when there was this huge fight at the end of it. So they kind of go in the innings of, like, you know, every inning, and then like something bad happens throughout the night, you know, with each inning scene kind of thing going on. But like I said, I really thought this was a very fun movie. It has on here, though, a commentary track with the director and Brian Posehn, and then outtakes as well. But I really thought this was good. The next one here is from MPI as well. It's a movie called Last Girl Standing, which is kind of a different take on the final girl in a movie, in a horror movie. It's basically the girl who, you know, she lives at the end. All of her friends get killed by this guy wearing this kind of weird kind of mask with these horns, and she's the only one who lives. And this is her months after trying to pick her life back up. It's kind of like what happens afterwards. And she gets trying to get another job at this trying to get a job at a laundromat, and kind of trying to just move on from what had happened. And she's kind of starts to see the killer everywhere she's going. She's like seeing him inside of the laundromat that she's working at. She's seeing him following her, and she's kind of freaking out. And everyone's like, "Oh, where? I don't know." And she's like, "I didn't see anybody." She was kind of trying to figure out what is going on, if this guy is back or if she's cracking up. And it's kind of like, it leads up to the end. The last 30 minutes of the movie is my favorite stuff in the movie, because it gets, like, insane, the kind of stuff that goes on in this movie. But it's like I said, it's a different take. They really haven't done a movie where it shows, you know, what happens to the person after the end of the horror movie when they all get killed. And, you know, it's just her trying to pick her life back up, and her going through all these problems, and you're not really sure if she's nuts or if this person is back and what is going on. It has on here, though, a commentary track and then a making of. It was a pretty long making of on here. I think it was like 50 minutes. As far as I remember, it's a very long making of. But I really did like this one a lot. The next one here, this is one I had never seen. This is from Twilight Time. This is a limited edition one. This is limited to 3,000 copies. This is a movie starring Eric Roberts and Jon Voight, which I had never seen before, called Runaway Train. And Eric Roberts and Jon Voight were so good in this movie. They kind of made a remake of this, sort of, without the aspect of breaking out of prison. Sort of a remake, kind of a movie called Unstoppable. This was way better than that. And this is basically about these two guys who break out of jail because Jon Voight's character was kind of put put in solitary confinement for like years, and he finally was released from it. The judge finally like let him out of this, but as soon as he got let out, the warden of the jail is giving him all kinds of problems and really hates him, and it's like having people from the jail kind of attempt to kill him, and Jon Voight's like knows that he's got to get out of this jail or he's going to die in there. So he plans his escape, and Eric Roberts is like, oh, can I come along with you? And he lets him come along, and they end up escaping, and it's out in the middle of the winter. It's like snowing everywhere, terrible snowstorm, and they end up getting on this train. It's like only one man on the train, and they end up on this train. And of course, though, right when they get on the train, the guy who's driving this train ends up having a heart attack, falling off the train. So the train is like basically, like it says, Runaway Train. It's like going down the tracks, and they're stuck on there, and they don't know right away. And it's like the people too at the train station trying to figure out how they're going to stop this thing, and it becomes like a total nightmare going on. But such a cool movie. I love everything about this movie. I really, really love this. Great transfer in this one. It has on here an isolated score track, commentary track with Eric Roberts, and a film historian, and as well as, you know, a theatrical trailer. But really, really great movie. The next one here as well is a cool Bette Davis movie. I saw this one years ago and have not seen this in a very long time. This has a, you know, a new transfer as well as a commentary track, and then a thing on here with Bruce Dern, because this is one of Bruce Dern's really early movies, and it's called Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. And this is another Twilight Time limited edition one. And this is basically, was done like right after What Happened to Baby Jane. So it's kind of in the same kind of style and feel of Baby Jane. I didn't like it as much, but it's a very cool atmosphere kind of vibe. And it's in the beginning of the movie, you see, you know, Bette Davis's character, like she has this guy that she wants to marry, and her father is a great act. The guy who plays her father too was in that movie like The Mad Butcher and a bunch of movies. He was always so good. Bruno something or other. And he like basically though doesn't want this guy to marry Bette Davis, and she wants him to get rid of him. And you see somebody in the beginning of the movie kill this boyfriend. And you know, Bette Davis's character kind of cracks up when this happens. And this is years later. She's in this mansion all by herself there with like the one person who's like helping her around the house and stuff, and the whole town kind of wants her to get out because they want to build like a train, some kind of a bridge through where the house is, and they need to connect the highways, and they want her out. So she's there trying to figure out how she's going to stay there, and one of her cousins comes back into town, and once she comes back, it becomes a weird thing about why is she come back here, because Bette Davis thinks she's going to help her, and maybe that's not what's going on here. But really creepy, odd movie. Like I said, it's got that same feel as Baby Jane. It's not as cool as that, but still, it's the director's same vibe kind of movie. The next one here, I watched this one with my brother, and he like really knows these brands, and he like was telling me a lot of the people like were, you know, that he knows were in this. So it's actually a pretty well done documentary if you guys are a fan of like sneaker collecting, and like, you know, it's a movie called Sneakerheadz, Do It With Soul. Sneakerheadz is the main movie, the title though. It's basically a documentary on the whole thing of collecting, you know, sneakers, and like the extreme collections people have, and then talking to some of the people, like some of the stores, and like talking about like the collaborations, and how, like, you know, a shoe that you buy when it first comes out for like $200, it flips, you know, right after on eBay for like $5,000, $10,000, and the talking about the lines people wait in, and like the fights, and all the kind of terrible things that have happened too, like people in line to try and get these shoes, and then showing a lot of like people's like gigantic collections and that kind of stuff. It's actually, if you guys are a fan of like shoe collecting and that kind of stuff, and I think even if you don't know this too well, like I don't know too much about it myself, and I actually followed it pretty well, and I actually think it's a pretty well done documentary, and they get like a number of different people too talking about it and showing their collections and stuff. It's pretty cool though. And the next one here from Arrow Video UK, and this is the Region 2 release of this one. This is the DVD of Tales of Halloween. Very, very cool anthology. We just want to let you guys know this one was out. I actually really think this is probably one of my favorite anthology movies in a very long time. It's basically all set in one night, and it's all interconnecting stories, all set in pretty much the same neighborhood for the most part, and they all kind of connect together of all the things that are happening on Halloween, like, you know, this pumpkin that comes alive, and this trick-or-treater that may not actually be a kid that's going around pulling all these pranks on people. I really like this one a lot, and it has on here deleted scenes, and then as well as anatomy of a scene for 2 of the segments on here. And the last one here is from PBS, and this is called Barbecue with Franklin. And this is like, I watched through a couple of these, and it's basically kind of like, I always like these kind of cooking type shows, and it's funny, I don't even really eat like barbecue food, but like I always like these kind of shows. They're always kind of like real chill out kind of things, and this deals with a lot of like showing like some of the barbecue restaurants and then like talking to them about their recipes and how they've been around for years, and also has the one guy showing like techniques of smoking and building your own smoker. All that kind of stuff. And it's funny, like, from watching, like, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and all those things, like, I've seen so many of these other locations in, like, other shows, like, you know, the one where they only open once a week. And so it's funny to me, like, to watch this. I'm like, man, I have watched a lot of these kind of, like, cooking things and showing restaurants and that kind of stuff throughout the years. But like I said, this is Barbecue with Franklin. I don't know if this is the first season or what season of this one is. It's maybe a brand new one. But like I said, I watched through a number of ones of this one. Anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching, subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.